Bobby touched on Hayward, so I do want to pivot there, okay? So here's the Celtics Gordon Hayward conundrum. Is likely he's going to opt in for $34 million because he can't really not, this market, the uncertainty.
36, I think, right? Yeah, I mean, that's huge.
Okay, so
yeah,
he's going to take that 30. Yeah. But this is going to create a problem for the Celtics because if he opts in and then walks, they lose that. They lose it. They lose the space. They lose the asset. They just comes off the books and they can't re-sign a player at his level. So that's a major risk here for the Celtics, almost to the point that I personally believe, and you might have to, this is what we're going to debate here. If he opts in, I think the Celtics have to trade him, even if it makes them worse. And again, this goes back to the whole asset conversation of losing, or the other, and Bobby alluded to this briefly, is restructure. So that's what we'll throw out here. Let's go on the scenario that Gordon Hayward does in fact opt in, which everyone expects he will do. And he does not. One, do you want to restructure him for like a 3-60, 3-65, whatever it would take to get him back? Or would you rather trade him and try to roll it up into something? And again, we've heard that Indiana scenario a bunch of times with Oladipo and or Turner. Throw some picks in, make the money work, and see what happens. So, Jimmy, start with you. What do you think? What do you want to see happen here?
Well, like Marcus Smart, I think Gordon Hayward is expendable. So I'm certainly not just going to say, no, you have to figure out a way to get this guy back and restructure his deal and sign him to a 3-year extension. I mean, you want to talk about injuries, we all know the story with Gordon Hayward in Boston. So I don't, weirdly enough, I wouldn't call him injury prone. I think a lot of his injuries have been fluke, but I'm wondering if that's going to play an effect into how serious the Celtics get with the restructure. But John, like you said, I mean, the last thing Danny Ainge is going to want to see happen is just watch this guy walk away and get nothing in return and not have that cap space. So I think he's going to exhaust all options. I said it in the last time we met. I mean, I'm not content with where the Celtics are at the 5. I'm not sold on Robert Williams. I hate to say it. I think that's a risk going into next season, depending on an unknown like him to sort of take that massive step and take you to that next level. So if Gordon Hayward, opts in and the Celtics do find themselves in a position to trade for a big that fits their style of play, and I don't know if it's Miles Turner or whoever it is, I think you absolutely have to look at that. And it goes back into what we're talking about with Marcus Smart, continuously adding, contracts that you can, grow in value, flip, restructure, extend.
Yeah, flexibility.
Exactly. It's part of continuing, building around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So I think that's something they have to look at. Now, a healthy Gordon Hayward, I think we all agree that, a healthy Gordon Hayward probably takes the Celtics to an NBA
What is
Finals.
that? I don't even know what that is. I don't. It's like
you saw that up until the
yeah.
A healthy Gordon Hayward might as well be.
They forget, Bobby.
It might as well be the freaking Easter Bunny. Okay,
Right, so,
it doesn't exist. It's not real.
Whoa! What do you mean it doesn't exist? Easter Bunny doesn't exist.
Sorry, kids.
Easy.
Remember when a 50% Hayward saved the Celtics in Game 3 of that Heat series.
Oh, goody.
So
I've grown. The idea of trading Hayward has grown on me. I'll credit Ryan Bernardoni in that, and the extension of that money idea that you want to maintain that over many years instead of just having that one bang 34 and bust. Now I think there's value in that, and that if you really believe you can win the championship in 2021, you would stick with that and not care if he walks. But the Bucks are around, the Lakers are around. There's just no certainty there.
There's no certainty.
And you don't look at the Celtics with Hayward as being the super team. But if you restructure him, I think having Hayward still puts you head and shoulders above other teams in terms of that core. Yeah. And you have the certainty that you have him for many years. Luckily, this is easy for the Celtics. If he opts out, you can work with him. If he opts in, you can trade him. So the decision becomes fairly easy. And I think what's underrated here is Hayward can actually be very valuable for another team, not just because there's the potential of him playing at a star level, but because he clears $34 million off that team's books. And even though it won't clear up the Celtics, it could open up a max slot or very close to it for another team that wants to get on next year.
He has value, but you may get a lesser something in return just to be able to kind of hang on to an asset. So it's in line with the Marcus Smart conversation. It could theoretically make you worse. I think no one's going to argue the on-floor product
It will.
is better.
It will. It almost certainly will.
No one's going to argue the on-floor product is going to be better if Marcus remains and plays out his contract and whatever happens there, and Hayward restructures or even plays out next year. But if he's there and he's healthy, which
Hayward's never been healthy, I guess. We all forget the bubble.
Last full year he was healthy.
The bubble was 8 games.
Okay. Last full year he was healthy. I think he had 1 kid and he lived in thousands of miles away. Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Daddy's always happy, right? No. Listen, with Gordon Hayward, I think when you remember when he said that? No. Yeah. Listen, with Gordon Hayward, it would be easier for the Celtics if he opts in, right? Because you have to trade him. And I think realistically, that's probably what's going to happen. But if you're the Celtics, you have to showcase the guy. Again, to my point, you have to prove, or at least
that's a good point.
He can play to the level that they saw, I guess, 25 months ago, because you guys already forgot. I mean, he did that all season long. He balled out. Like teams that doesn't.
He got hurt 3 times during the year.
Right, but listen. If you showcase him,
he's
gonna get value.
Running into a pick. I mean, the guy's made of glass, Josue. I know we're saying we're not injury prone.
John, that's why I'm not saying
4 times a year.
That's why I wouldn't want to see the Celtics restructure his deal, honestly. And look, I hate to say it, but like if you look down the road, I just don't see. I don't think it's worth it. $20 million per. I mean, if you can get it down lower,
because
if you get lower than that, maybe. But
that's
realistically, I see this thing playing out where he opts in because he knows he has to showcase himself, whether it's in Boston or whether it's for another team. And I think if the Indiana Pacers, now here's the only problem with this situation is with the Indiana Pacers, I love Miles Turner. I love that scenario.
Oh, I hate him.
I like him. I think he would play well at the Celtics. I like the fit. But to your point, John, you lose that trade, but you take it because you want to get some value out of the deal, right? But the thing is, how good are the Pacers going to be come the trade deadline in 2021? I mean, is TJ Warren gonna play like he did in the bubble? Is Oladipo gonna all of a sudden he sticks around and they ball out and they're 4th in the Eastern Conference? And then how eager are they to make a move? But there's always a team at the deadline that's eager, right? But again, I mean, with Gordon Hayward, it's really. I think it boils down to how much how badly do the Celtics want to lose in a trade? Are they going to be stubborn enough to say, you know what, screw it, let's go into the playoffs? If he leaves, he leaves. Hopefully, we can figure something out. If not, the hell with it. Or if you're Danny, you're saying, no matter what, just give me the best offer. See you later, Gordon.
I think you do in the off season, and they'll do it too. You want to integrate a guy during the off season. You want to get that done, have the book set. The decision, it's going to be a tough decision, and not just because of the basketball and who you're getting back and this and that, but you're also trading a guy who signed in Boston, and you want to have some favor for guys who want to come to Boston in the future. It's something that they built over the last 5 years that never existed before. Sure. And all of a sudden you are running into that Isaiah. And that's a consideration because when Anthony Davis was on the table, all that stuff drummed up. And you can think about the Lakers and this and that, but it was noise. It was noise around the league. It was noise with agents that they don't care about their players and that they'll ship anybody off at a moment's notice. Plus, we have Brad's relationship with him, which is another thing. Brad likes having him here, and it's a consideration because you do want to keep Brad.
Situation like Rozier.
No, I don't think you're going to do that with him either. It's just going to be the 34 straight up, and because if you sign and trade, you hard cap yourself, and they don't want that either. It's tough, but it's grown on me because of those future considerations. Yep. I'm not as opposed to as they used to be, but if they can work it out. I work it out with him and make it work long term, and that's what I hear the Celtics want to do too.
Yeah, and so that's again, it seems that you want to get him to do it. You wanted Al to do it though, and it didn't happen. Again, we're talking about
different offseason.
I know, but we're talking it's different and totally different circumstances for sure. But you don't know. We don't know how happy he is here. We don't know.
With idiots like us yelling at him every day, he might hear it and want to get out of here.
We're not the worst of it, by the way. Okay. There's
Hayward, on the radio.
If Smart's a polarizing figure, Hayward is. I mean, there's a lot of people who are tough on him. I don't know. We don't really know what he wants to do beyond I don't want to call it a cash grab, but beyond just cashing in on this season. Beyond that, I have no idea if he's game. I mean, if I'm him, I don't do it. I take the 1 year and I see what happens after that.
Right, exactly. I think it's just all but done pretty much, like on both sides. I just think if you're Gordon Hayward, like, why wouldn't you do that? Showcase yourself and just stick around in Boston where you're a contending team on the stage, you know, playing in front of millions. When the schedule comes out, I'm sure the Celtics are going to have plenty of national televised games, and that's just his opportunity to showcase himself, especially those first 30, 40 games of the season.
Yeah.
And they can win it all with him. Like, it's a possibility. It's a real possibility if they stay healthy.
Yeah, I would honestly consider not letting him play a game until like game 76 of the season.
Gronkowski, the Gronk move.
Don't let him walk.